Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me tonight on World Awakening. Jamila and Deb are my close friends and my guests tonight. Many of you will recognize them, especially if you've ever been to UFO Contact in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Both residents of Michigan and close, dear friends of mine. The girls have been circling the wagons, probably have noticed. And then, of course, there are the good, kind men that stand with us that know that we're facing a crisis in this country. Now, I will say, before we even begin tonight, I am not, under any circumstances, going to tolerate trolls. So if anybody decides to get into the chat and misbehave, I have a mean ass admin named Lenny who will make you go away. You can either listen respectfully or there's a billion other things to watch. You don't have to be here. We are here tonight and gathering tonight because we cannot and will not stay silent. It is too critical a point in the history of our country and our future. And we are going to be discussing one particular subject that needs to be discussed because, it's personal. And when you watch the show, you'll understand. So that said, I would like to bring our guests on. My lovely, lovely ladies.
Hey.
Hi.
It's so good to be here with both of you.
And thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you both.
Well, we've got stories to tell. And the thing is, we the people have stories to tell.
For sure.
And it's easy to look at this situation in the abstract and to look at it as like a macrocosmic issue. But every macrocosmic issue has a series of microcosmic stories that compiled create a new awareness. And that's where we are now. That's where we are. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, I lost my mind. My father and I had, when the Alito memo slipped out, which was obviously leaked, so to prepare the hysterical women for what was coming.
Yes.
Okay, I'll try not to do that again, but I knew it.
Okay.
I knew it. And I told my father, and I told him over and he's like, you're wrong. They're not, under no circumstances in America is that going to happen. And when it did, I think everyone in my neighborhood in Florida heard my reaction to it. Anger like I have never felt in my life, you can see, because I am a woman of a certain age.
Oh dear.
And I was around before Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
And my father, I was inconsolable. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't believe it had actually happened. And since then, I told him, I said, this is the paradigm shift. Everything will change because of this. Everything will change because of this. And with my mother's permission, I'm going to tell her story. People think they know my mother because they've read the books that tells her story of her paranormal experiences at the farm, but that was only a part of her life. When I was 10 years old, we were still living in Cumberland, Rhode Island. We didn't know that the farm existed. My mother got pregnant with her 6th child. I am the eldest of 5 daughters. And she was about maybe 2.5 or 3 months into her pregnancy. She was just starting to show. And something went wrong and the fetus died. And she was getting sick and she was not having a miscarriage. She was not expelling the fetus. And she was getting sick and sicker and sicker. And she reached out to a friend who arranged for her. This 1968 had took her to a tenement apartment building in South Providence, a very not a hospital. And my mother had to suffer the indignity of laying on newspapers on a dirty kitchen floor with a woman who said she was a nurse who attempted to give her an abortion that failed. And my mother went home and began to die. I came home from school that afternoon and she was laying on the sofa and she was yellow. Her eyes were yellow. Her skin was yellow. She could barely talk. I ran to the phone. I called my father. He came rushing home. It's like it happened yesterday. Like it happened yesterday. And picked her up as though she was a feather and rushed out the door and said, "Take care of your sisters. I'll be back." He didn't come back. And so I was home, 10 years old, with 4 little sisters, trying to explain to them what I did not understand was happening. I didn't know that my mother had had a back alley abortion to try to save her life. And he took her to the hospital that I was born in, Notre Dame Hospital in Central Falls, Rhode Island. And they stood around and discussed what they should do with this dying woman. And there was a priest involved with the decision to just let nature take its course. And we lived in a country where one priest in a Catholic hospital could decide that it was perfectly okay to let a woman who had 5 living children die because of a dead fetus that was rotting in her uterus. When she began to bleed out to the point where he could either stand there and watch her die or take her out of that hospital, he picked her up again and he took her to the Jewish hospital on the east side of Providence. And they are the ones that saved her life. And it was so bad that when my mother passed the fetus, the head nurse passed out on the floor. I didn't see my mother again for a few days. She had to be hospitalized. She had to have blood transfusions. She had to be loaded with antibiotics. She barely survived for no good goddamn reason. Did this happen? And in 1973, when Roe v. Wade was passed into law, our great national nightmare of women being expendable was over, or so we thought.
Yes.
And now we are living again in a day and age because apparently there is no separation between church and state in this country. That's an illusion. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask, how many more women have to die before we wake the fuck up and realize that if we don't do something, no one's going to do it for us. There is no great protector out there of women, regardless of what you might have heard on the news recently. And, women, talk about childhood trauma, okay? The gift that keeps on giving. I'm just as angry now as I was 50 years ago.
That's right.
Because we were past this, and that abortion care is health care, And now in these states with these abortion bans going on, women can't get any gynecological care. They can't even, their clinics are closing left and right. The doctors are leaving. They're scared to death to be thrown in jail. And I, for one, am sick to death of living in a country where old, white, fat Republican men decide to dictate how we are going to live our lives and what kind of decisions we are going to make about our own bodies. And I will close this story with what I think is stating the obvious. If men had the reproductive organs, there would be an abortion clinic in every Walgreens pharmacy in
That part.
country.
That part.
Okay?
Mhm.
Said. Now I need to get my blood pressure down.
Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. But you're
This can't be the template
absolutely
that we live under. It cannot be the
exactly.
template. It cannot be.
Exactly. We
And
cannot allow it.
I have voted
To go
for a
back.
woman who has declared nationwide, we are not going back,
Period.
period. But the fact of the matter is, we already have.
Mhm.
And now we have to fix this
Right.
one way or the other, whatever it takes
Yeah.
to restore our rights to bodily autonomy in this country.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This is it. We are the women. We are the primal. We have primal protective instincts. And I refuse to live in a country that allows perfectly healthy young women to die because they can't carry a viable pregnancy. 1 in 4 pregnancies results in a miscarriage. 1 in 4. And when the doctors, whatever happened to the Hippocratic Oath? First, do no harm.
Right.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
All right, talk amongst yourselves. Hold on. Oh God.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I didn't even know how I was going to get through the show tonight. My father helped save my mother's life
Yes.
because I called my dad and said, Mommy's sick. And what she went through, what she endured in those days, no woman should have to go through. We live in a time of scientific breakthroughs and medical miracles. And among the African American population, maternal mortality is through the roof.
Yes, it is. And this is going to make it even worse. It is going to make it to where people don't even want to come up and say anything. And then you have people who take advantage of these things. You're going to start, if this happens again, what you're going to see is not only health issues, but you're going to see people preying on that. You're going to see all of these fly-by-night pills that they're going to push.
Yep.
And you're going to have people they're going to charge $500, $600 for a sugar pill. You're going to see a lot of trauma. You're going to see more trauma.
And we already have. Yeah.
Than we already have.
Yep.
And what I really want to kind of call to, you mentioned it, Annie, when he said that he's going to be a protector of women, whether we like it or not.
Right.
Now, that in itself, I need y'all to understand that is a mindset.
Yes.
That is a mindset. Think about it. And if for everybody who wants to, because if you notice, I have dialogue on my page and people talk, but whatnot. But what I need you to understand is this. It goes beyond this last particular ridiculous statement to nasty women, dirty, grabbing them wherever. If you just stop in a second and put your claws away for just a second and take the time to look back over. Maya Angelou said, when a person tells you who they are, believe them.
Believe
the
them.
First time.
Yeah.
That's what people leave out. She said, believe them the first time. He's already shown you who
Countless
he is.
times.
He's
Countless
saying the
times.
quiet parts out loud. Now, let's not go, even talking about women's care, even just Roe versus Wade, even if you want to put that to the back, he's going to appeal Obamacare. That is going to make it even harder for women.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? Because that is going to take away any coverage for pre-existing health conditions.
Yep.
Any kind of ovarian cyst that you might have had 10 years ago. These people are going to say you had an ovarian cyst 10 years ago. So what you're going through now is a pre-existing condition and we won't cover you. Put that coupled with overturning. I mean, come on. What else do we have?
No, because you know what? Here's the thing. They're not satisfied just to deny us the health care. When we can actually access the health care, then it's at the cost of our own financial future and bankruptcy. You know, I've got $25,000 worth of bills sitting on my kitchen table right now from my cancer. Okay, $25,000 worth of bills sitting on my kitchen table. Now, that's what Medicare isn't covering.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you know, thankfully there are foundations to help and so on and so forth. And I know if I ever, you know, got in any trouble, all I'd have to do is do a GoFundMe and, you know, I'd be fine. But I don't want to ask anybody for help. I shouldn't, you know, because, you know, the thing is, healthcare should be a right, not a privilege.
Exactly.
A right,
Boom.
not a privilege.
Right.
You shouldn't. Do you know how many people die every year because they're afraid to go to the doctor because they are terrified that it's going to cost them so much money that they're going to lose their homes?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Exactly.
Okay, I need to. Okay, I need. Oh God, do I have?
It happens every day, and it's continuing to happen.
God Almighty.
And the story that you tell, Andrea, you know, breaks my heart because that was the norm back then.
That was the norm.
You know, we
mom went through it.
were alive and knew what was going on.
Yep.
We knew that was the norm back then.
Yep.
And many, many, many people died. Women died trying to either take care of a fetus that passed in them, or they, you know, an infection that was created by the fetus, just all kinds of things. And you couldn't legally have that taken care of, even though, you know, we look at that in our minds as it's not abortion. You know, this fetus has passed.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's dead.
Exactly.
It's killing you.
Exactly.
And to preserve what? To preserve what?
A man's right to control us.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
That is
about
what
power,
it is.
and this is about control. And I am not a man hater. And I will tell you what, you know,
I'm not either. I'm married to
Me neither.
God knows there's one in particular I truly love. But I'll tell
I
you
know who that is.
Yeah,
we know.
I know you know. We're not going to talk about it right now because you know you might be watching. Okay. I need to read something to you that I think is important for people to hear. And it's just it's brilliant. Don't allow men who hate women to define feminism as women who hate men.
Ooh. Okay.
Girlfriend, tell your story. I invited you on for you to tell your story. I want you to know when you told me on the phone the other day, when we said goodbye, I hung up the phone and I wept for your mother and for my mother and what they endured.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. First of all, shout out to the Diva Dolores, because that is a woman.
Diva Dolores.
Who is
goddess.
Yep. For those who know my mother, you know she is a Tony-nominated opera singer. She has traveled continents that melanated people should not have. She's made her opportunities. Her voice made her opportunities. She broke down barriers. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Her and my auntie.
Gift to this world.
Before I was born, she was pregnant before, and the fetus was no longer viable. They made my mother carry that baby that at one point she felt, and then no longer. And they knew the baby was no longer alive, would not take it. They made her carry to term and then deliver, even though that baby was not viable, the fetus was not viable. I don't have all the details. I don't know how long that went, but they made her, hear me, they made her carry that around. Now, I love my kids. I truly do. But if I was my mother, I don't know that there would be a Jamila, because I don't know if I could have done that. You understand? I need you to understand. I can't even, and I never really thanked her for that. But to create a bond, you have that bond, and then that all the dreams, all the clothes, everything that you had is for naught, and you're reminded of that. Your belly is still distended. You still have a big belly, and you have to walk around with that. And they did that to my mother.
Mhm.
And then we got the rights that we have, fortunately, and I was healthy, a little crazy, but I'm healthy and I'm here, But I don't know that I would have the strength that it took to go through with another pregnancy after I was made to carry my baby in my body, even though my baby is no longer here.
Right.
And
don't
the
know
thing
that
that's sickening is
It's
that
horrible.
even back then, they had all the technology that they needed. They knew exactly what to do,
Mhm.
exactly how to preserve your mother's life, to keep her healthy, to rid her of a potential infection. I mean, my mother got sepsis. She uh, it was I've never seen anything like it before or since. It was absolutely horrible to witness, and I didn't know when my father carried her out of the house if I would ever see her again, because that's how sick she was.
And it was a real chance that you wouldn't,
And
Annie.
Right.
There's a real chance that you would not have.
Mhm.
And I just want to say another thing. I'm noticing this movement of women who are voting the other way. That's your right. I don't have to agree with. That's your right. I just need to, when I speak to them, they bring up things that is a false equivalent.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
We have to stop with the false
false equivalent.
equivalencies.
Yep,
You have
Mhm.
to stop it,
yeah,
because at the end of the day, yes, this whole both sidesism is non-existent. There is only one party that is doing this. You
right,
understand what I'm saying?
right.
And then I
Right.
keep hearing, "Oh, about the economy, but I'm so worried about the economy." Let me put this out for you right now. Since George H.W. Bush, every Republican that has been in office has drove up the deficit by giving tax breaks to the wealthy. Then it
Oh,
comes
go
to
back a
the
little further to Reagan.
right, and then it becomes to a
Right.
Democrat to come after George. I could only, because my lifetime as I was an adult. I just did my research to make sure I wasn't lying, you know. But then after
Yeah, I
that,
lived through it, so
the
I know you're
Democrat,
not lying.
right? The Democrats come in and they bring that deficit down. Then another Republican gets into office. We go from there, then we go to Clinton, and then we go to Obama, and then we go whatever happens. Obama left us in a good place. Trump came and raised that deficit. So you're telling me it's okay that women are going to die because of a perceived boost in the economy that you think you're going to get. The reason your groceries are high is because the companies are making record profits and
That's
they don't want to
Right.
lower it. It has
They don't.
nothing to
No,
do.
they're still riding the COVID wave.
They're
Riding
riding
the
Right.
COVID
COVID
wave. So
wave.
you mean to tell me that my
Yep.
daughter, who just turned 18, might have to get a back room something because she might die if she can't get quick care because you got to pay 50 cents more in gas? Like, make it make sense to me. Nothing
Mhm.
you're coming to me, these false equivalencies has to stop. It doesn't, just tell me you don't care. I respect you more than tell me, I'm just going to vote this way because that's the way I want to vote. I'll hear you, but quit miss me with these false equivalencies because it's starting to piss me off. Like, seriously.
Well, okay,
Right.
but here's the thing, and Deb and I were talking about this the other day. It's not very ladylike for us to get this angry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's not.
It's just,
God.
and one of my friends sent me a thing today, and he said, well, young lady, I said, don't you dare call me a lady. I don't know any lady with a trash mouth like mine. I don't know any lady that will speak up so loud that your sternum reverberates when I lose my shit. Don't call me a lady. I don't fall into that category. I am a big, strong woman of substance, and we are not putting up with this.
And we're not going back.
We're not going back.
No, we're not. And I don't want the women that have already perished to have died in vain.
That's right.
Let this be the rise of the sacred feminine energy. Let this be the paradigm shift. Let this be the point where we never go back.
Right.
And as light workers, everybody, like
No, I'm not feeling all that much light right this minute.
But what I mean is, though,
next Wednesday, and let's see how light and lovey and fluffy I feel.
But just think about the people that are in our community, the people who work on bodies, the people who give readings, the people who counsel. If they came to you and just listen before you vote, just think about it. If they came to you and they told you that their partner was doing what he wants to do to our country, you would tell them to run. As a light worker, as a person who works with the public, as a person who says they care, I don't understand how you can just be so willfully ignorant to the plight of so many that you are going to affect. Like, I get the both sidesism. I understand that there are, corruption on both sides, but this is not a both sides.
No, this
thing.
is not a
This
both
has
sides
nothing to do with
Period.
sides.
And
This is not
here's
a
the
both
thing:
sides thing.
if
Right.
you don't want, if you don't believe in abortion, if you're a woman who, for whatever personal reason of faith or whatever, thinks that that life begins at conception or dinner the night before. I mean, I don't even care. If you don't believe in abortion, don't have one.
Have one.
Exactly.
Don't have one, but don't tell me that you get to decide for me what I can and cannot do with my own body, period.
Exactly.
Bodily autonomy, period. Deb, I want you to weigh in on this because you said something to me the other day. Oh God, I know I wrote it.
I don't even know what I said.
Okay,
I've said
well,
so
it
many
was
things the
brilliant
last
and
few days.
beautiful.
I'm out of my mind with this.
I know, me too. Out of my mind.
One thing that's making me really crazy is people are so focused on abortion, and I get it. Okay. I know people who have had abortions. I am blessed. I've not had to have one. Although I did have a miscarriage and I had to have a D&C. But luckily that was, later, after 1973.
That option in 26 states no longer
Exactly.
is even a viable option for you with an unviable pregnancy.
And in 1972, I had to watch one of my friends almost die. Well, she did die. Give me a minute here.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Giving herself an abortion with a coat hanger because she couldn't get one. And she was terrified and she'd been raped by her father. And she knew no other way out. This happened all the time. This was common. We grew up with this. I'm 66 years old. I was born in 1958. I saw a lot of this, and so did you, Annie.
Yeah.
In our time, it was there. And now it's back.
And
what the shit? Why is, why? The government does not say what kind of medical a man can have. But when it
Well,
comes to women,
I believe
we're
Senator Harris did ask Kavanaugh during the hearings if he
Mhm.
knew of any law that regulated a man's body.
Yes, I saw that.
yeah, and there isn't one.
No.
But we have many, mostly reproductive rights or, anything to do with that. But my big thing is I printed off, and this is just a tiny bit, 12 pages of, this is timeline of legal history of women in the United States.
Mhm.
Oh, you really want to get Annie pissed, don't you? Gonna read that?
I know.
There's only a few that I want to read.
Mhm.
Only a few out of many, many. I
Yep.
mean, it took me hours to sit and go, no,
Painfully aware of what you are about to
Exactly.
share.
yeah.
Yep.
We were talking about
So,
it.
this is how long. 1701 was the first case on here, the first thing on here.
Mhm.
1701, that women have been fighting for rights. Before that, we had none.
Mhm.
Okay. In 1855, and I'm skipping quite a few, and this one gets me too, but I have to. A Black woman is declared to be property without a right to defend herself against a master or a man's act of rape.
Right.
Do you know? I mean, I won't go over all of these because they're so, women finally get the right to buy a home with her husband's permission, as long as his name is on it.
Right.
And I can tell you, I went through that. I could
Or
not get a loan.
or a credit card.
I was working. I could not get a loan without having my husband sign for it.
The reason that the house I grew up in is now known as the Arnold Homestead is because the Richardson family built it, but they couldn't keep it in the family. It had to go to the Arnold that the female Richardson married, so that, okay, because women were not allowed to own property.
Exactly. I'm just getting too worked up. If you find what I said a few days ago, Annie.
No, I'm looking. All right, you keep going. I'm looking. I made notes.
And like I said, there's only a few that I'm going to read off, but I think it's so important that we know.
Yeah.
In 1936, we finally won the judicial approval of medicinal use of birth control. I mean, seriously,
Right.
Would that, if it were a man, and nothing against men, we're not man haters, would that even be a thing? Should that be in the laws? I mean, come on.
Look at the law they had to overturn to codify Roe v. Wade in Michigan. It went back to the 1800s that was still on the books. Look what happened in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they didn't want to. They did not want to fix that.
Right.
That's a fight.
And, the thing is, we know if the votes go the wrong way and 2020, the Project 2025 goes into effect, all of these are going back.
At least a lot of them.
Yeah.
Most of them.
They just
will no longer.
What they'll do is they'll disguise it as something else to achieve the same outcome, because that's
possibly,
what they do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very possibly.
Well,
but, when we're told you'll never have to vote again.
Right. You'll never have to vote again.
Never have to vote
this
again.
one last time and you'll never have to vote again.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who knows me knows my favorite F word is fuck. Well, there's another F word that's been flying around, and it's called fascism. And I am not going to live in a country with a dictator. Emphasis on dick. I am not going to live. I was born into a democracy, and God damn it, when I die, this country will still be a democracy. So
right.
help me, God.
That's right. That's right.
I'm pissed.
Oh,
You might have
yeah.
probably noticed how
A
pissed
little bit.
I am.
Just
I
a
am
little.
too. I'm very, very pissed, and I'm very scared.
I'm heartbroken.
For
Yeah, I'm
very
our,
all of
for our
that.
children.
We are all of that. And
Yeah.
every thinking, feeling, caring man feels the same way we do.
Mhm.
Because there's a mother or a sister or a cousin or a lover or a wife or a daughter who
Mhm.
factors into this equation, who
Right.
captured their hearts, and they're able to see beyond the willful ignorance of this kind of a move. And they are able to see that a very carefully hand-picked, hand-selected few that were placed deliberately on the Supreme Court to exactly accomplish this.
That's right.
There's no running away from this.
That's right. And that's why I
No
don't
running away
understand
from it.
when people say
Own it.
Project 2025 is not, they don't mean that, but they already started that. This whole thing was part of Project 20. It wasn't called Project 2025, but the
Honey.
Heritage Foundation has said this was going to happen, and then it happened. So if they're telling you what they're going to do,
believe it.
Believe
But
it
all
the
of
first
this-
time, right, Jamila?
All of this goes
All of
back to, I mean, you can go back in history. Have you ever read the book Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand? It is a template
Nope.
for this level of power and control consolidated into a single party where the minority actually takes power through manipulation, through gerrymandering, through, changes in the law.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and this all goes back 40 years. Do you know where the whole pro-life movement came from in the first place? Reverend Jerry Falwell needed something to pull his community together. Prior to that, the evangelical movement in this country had nothing to do with this issue at all. If they had an objection to abortion, they didn't have one. They certainly didn't try to tell all the rest of us what we needed to do, what we needed to believe, to take their religious beliefs and shove them down our throats. And Jerry Falwell is the one who chose this particular subject to focus all of his energy in on, to consolidate his movement, his evangelical movement, to line his pockets. Sorry. Go ahead.
Don't be sorry. Tonight's the night. You gave the warning.
Oh,
You gave the warning ahead of the show.
I mean, I'm supposed to try to stay positive while my body heals from cancer,
Right.
and
Well,
and
you're
how am I
releasing
supposed
this.
to get through these next few days? I
Mhm.
ask you.
You gotta let it out.
Well, I'm doing that. I'm doing it loud and clear.
Sure.
And this is going to be archived. And I don't care how many people it pisses off, because anybody that's insulted or offended by what the three of us are saying tonight
Mhm.
has not a clue about the reality of being a woman in the United States of America. Not a clue.
No.
And if you listen to what JD Vance was talking about,
Oh,
even further
God.
than that, even further back through all those things, he's even talking about that no fault divorce should
Yep.
not be a
Yep.
thing, because women should not be allowed
No.
to just walk away
Or
And
leave an
all
abusive
the right-
relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah.
all the right wing
Just lay down and take it, lady.
Just lay down and
take it.
all the right wing pundits, you got your Stephen Crowder, you got the this, you got the that. They all are saying the same thing. So it's not, I don't want people, because what I keep hearing is, oh, y'all just want to be out there and be promiscuous and be able to, abortion is not birth control. It's not about
Well,
that.
no
It's
shit.
so much more than that.
Yeah, we hear that all the time. And I can tell you from all of the people that I know,
Hey, Stinky.
I scared my dog. She does. She's not used to me raising my voice, and she rolled over, and her little tail's going on. You're like, "Mommy,
poor
don't be
baby.
mad, Mommy, don't be mad." I won't. I swear to God, honey.
But
I
I
won't.
want to say publicly, out of all of the people that I know, and in my years, I know quite a few who have had to have an abortion,
So do I.
did
Many
not do it
for
as
fun
a
or as a
form
method
of
of birth control.
birth control. They did not do it without a lot of soul searching or medical issues, or they had damn good reason. I am a woman who has given birth, and if I did not have to have an abortion, I never would, and I never have. I'm blessed. I am blessed. But that's not the case with many. I was
Now, I
raped in my
know.
youth.
Oh,
Had I gotten pregnant, it wasn't legal. I would have had to carry that baby and give birth and raise it.
That's right.
There's so many people don't understand that women aren't running around saying, "Oh, I'm going to go have sex, get pregnant, and have an abortion because I can." That is not a thing.
That's not how it works.
That is not how it works.
Frankly,
A man doesn't have to think of
we're
that.
more responsible than that.
Right. When a man wants to have sex, he just freaking has sex, right? All he can.
Do I know women? Do I know women who have terminated their pregnancies early because it was not the right time to do it? Absolutely. Do I think that they should be able to do that? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If it's not time, things happen. I know dudes who poke holes in condoms trying to trap women.
Mhm.
That's a thing. That's a thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if
That is a
I
thing.
get pregnant, well, I can't. But if a woman gets pregnant and she finds out and she decides it's not time, that's her right.
That is her right. She
doesn't have
doesn't make that
be.
decision lightly.
No, she doesn't take the decision lightly. And it's her right. You don't have to agree with it, but it is her right, because I guarantee you, if she doesn't have the money to raise that child is born and she goes on welfare. You're going to not want to give her any help. You're going to try to repeal Medicaid so she's not going to be able to have that. She's going,
Right.
and then now you're going to talk about her. So it's like, damn, we can't win for losing, no matter what I do.
Losing. I know.
That's not fair. And then they're talking about, this is the part that pisses me off beyond anything. This whole talking point that people run with, they're killing after late time. There is no woman on this earth that will carry a baby for 8 months and just decide that she no longer. If you know of one, say it. I will pay, and I ain't got no money. But you gonna have to show that. Nobody does that. And the fact that they are saying this to you over again shows you they don't value you. Right. He came out and said, I can shoot somebody and my supporters will still follow me. That tells you right there what he thinks of you. And then he follows that up with telling you that they're birthing babies, killing them, that they are coming. Understand what he's doing.
That's called murder, and it's against the law.
It's already
far beyond the parameters of Roe v. Wade,
right?
Which was abortion to the point of viability. And most women who are pregnant and need an abortion, for whatever their reason, they don't know that they're pregnant in 6 weeks. Florida, Georgia. It's even more restrictive. I mean, there's basically no circumstance that you can have an abortion in Texas. You need to just go south of the border, or you need to go find a civilized state. Okay. So the only way to resolve, to say, even the Republican Party knows it has grossly overstepped here. I mean, it wasn't maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago, a Republican congressman out in the Midwest somewhere said if women, want to avoid abortions, they need to put an aspirin between their knees. You know,
What the hell does that
And
mean?
then you're going to get some guy that forces it out anyways.
I don't understand what that means.
It means if she's holding an aspirin
I know,
between
but
her knees,
that doesn't make
stupid thinking.
it's
It was
so
a
he
stupid
got
thing to say.
lost his job for it.
He
He
should
was
have.
basically thrown out of Congress for saying that.
Mhm.
That was like
Yes.
the blink of an eye ago. What happened?
We know what happened,
happened. Yes, we know exactly what happened.
and we're not gonna let it happen again.
No, we're not going
I
to.
just want to make a real quick statement about what Jamila said earlier about this is not about parties, because honestly, it's not. I don't see a lot of this as Republican, because with the Republican Party was never, ever what it is now, or what he has
Now
made it
it's
to
been
be.
Voted Republican before.
distorted into
I have-
something I don't even recognize.
I know. I never took a side. I was raised, you don't talk about who you're voting for, and you study the heck out of every
That part.
person, and you vote for the person. You never vote with the party, and the parties are similar. You just go with who you feel.
That's
There's
right.
a chasm now
That's
that is so deep you can't see the bottom. And
Right.
everybody's talking about the bridge and all of us coming together and healing this. And you know what? What a really nice fable. What, wishful thinking. But the healing process after all of this is going to take some time. And it's
Mhm.
going to take some understanding, and it's going to require some empathy, which
Mhm.
so many people seem to be completely running away from, which is why I wanted to do this show. Because when you have empathy, you feel the pain of another, which means that you feel the pain too. And
Right.
it just hurts too much. So it's so much easier to just do this. No, I can't see this. I don't want to know about this, but there is no excuse.
No.
There is no excuse in this day and age for us to be going back to the dark ages.
Right.
What do you mean 5 minutes, Bill? What do you mean 5
Holy
minutes?
smokes.
Oh man, I
Good
need
thing
to
we love that guy.
obviously his atomic clock has malfunctioned.
It has.
And poor Bill. I mean, I know he's sitting there coming unglued. Okay, because guess what? He agrees with every single thing that we said
Right.
tonight.
Yeah.
And he stands with us. He stands with us.
Mhm.
This shouldn't be a matter of us and them. This
No.
should be we caring for each other.
Right.
The
You
people.
can't claim to be pro-life and then let the mother of 5 little girls die with a dead fetus in her as a matter of religious principle. No, that is not a compassionate God. That
No.
is a man deciding what's going to happen
Mhm.
with that woman's body. That's what it is. And we need to call it what it is. It is misogyny. And I, for one, am sick to fucking death of living in a misogynistic, bigoted community known as the United States of America, where almost 50% of the people think that this is acceptable. It's
better than
not.
We're better than that.
We
Yeah.
are better than that.
Mhm.
So, maybe we should fund the Department of Education and start teaching civics again, and start teaching our history again, and start educating people about where we come from and where we came to and where we are going, because we are not going back over my dead body.
We're not going back.
We're not.
We can't go back. We can't allow this.
We can't, because there's nothing pro-life about letting a mother of living children die, especially when she is in desperate need for immediate intervention and all of the equipment, all of the medication, all of the personnel is right there to help her, but
Mhm.
they're too busy meeting with lawyers.
Right.
Well, I got news for America. I don't care how big your examination room is. There isn't. I've been in plenty of them in the stirrups. And I'll tell you what, there isn't enough room for the fucking Supreme Court in that building, let alone in that room. And this must stop. And we have to take control of it. So let this be the time where we look back on this period and say, yep, there it was. Paradigm shift. Yes, there it was.
Yeah.
The rise of the sacred feminine energy, because we are the primal protectors, not someone who tells us that we'll be protected no matter
Whether we like it or not.
or not. No,
Right.
no. So you know what I say, everybody that's watching, and any of the slugs or trolls that tried to get in, I'm sure Lenny dispensed with them very quickly. Row, row, row your vote Tuesday, November 5th.
Please, please, please do that.
Please.
Do the right thing. Do the right
So that we
thing.
don't have
Don't
to
let us
stay
go
this
back.
angry. Because I'll tell you what, part of the reason I'm sick is because of the toxic spew that we've been living with for years now. For years.
Right.
That has just built up with me and inside of me to the point where I didn't know I could feel this kind of hatred. I didn't know that it existed in me. And now I have to shed it and I have to expel it.
Gotta let it go.
I ask the universe, let my greatest day of healing be November 5th, 2024, to honor my mother, to honor Dolores, to honor Deb, to honor the countless women out there that have sacrificed everything to have a family and then are not only denied the health care that they require, but possibly even losing their lives because they so desperately wanted that little baby to love. This is wrong. This is immoral. This is amoral. Amoral, what is happening in this country. And please let these women not die in vain. Let this be our great wake-up call. Let this be their stories told. Say their names.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Please, please, please vote right
All
now.
right, so
That
we'll have coffee talk in
Yes,
the
we'll-
morning, okay? Because,
out of time.
oh my
And
God, I
if you're
can't
gonna be pro-life, it's okay, but also be pro-love, be
Pro-love.
pro-empathy,
Yeah.
be pro-compassion,
Yeah,
be pro-understanding, be pro. You can be pro all of that.
yeah.
Just remember,
Be pro-human.
be
Just
pro-human.
Damn it. Be pro-human.
Be pro-human.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies, God knows I love you
Mhm.
both with all my
I love
heart.
you.
This
Love
is
you.
very, very difficult for me
I
to
can
tell my
understand.
mom's story again.
I know, baby.
And I don't know if I could have gotten through it without the two of you.
We
And I'm
love you,
so
honey.
very
I
grateful
love you.
to both
We
of you
always have.
always.
Always.
Together, we are strong. Together, we are powerful. Together, we raise our voice. Together.
That's right.
And go
Together
listen
always.
to Stevie Nicks' song, The Lighthouse. Go listen to Stevie Nicks' new song, The Lighthouse.
Okay.
If you are not moved, you are made of stone.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you both for joining
Thank
me.
you.
Thank
Have a
Thank you.
wonderful
Thank you,
night.
Andrea. We love,
Love you.
you.
you. Love you.
Love you all out there.
And to
Thank you.
everybody
Yes, love
else
you all out
watching,
there.
Oh,
just
Blue.
remember, be the light that you seek. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Claim your power. Claim your agency over your own vessel, your own body, and stand up and rise up and do whatever you must do to authenticate your power as a woman in this world. Love you.